Welcome to this scrumptious woman. And I have with me another fellow Dutch lady who has a really deeply emotional, but also really beautiful story to tell. And I came across you with your oracle deck
Yeah.
around pussies. And oftentimes that is very misconstrued. So, welcome to this scrumptious woman. I love where we're going. We have no idea. I didn't give you any questions, and this is how we rock.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Absolutely. I'm delighted. I saw your post about empowering women, and I'm Dutch and I grew up in Holland. Then we moved to the UK years ago. Gosh, I've been here 26 years. And I remember people not having a name for their vagina, their pussy. It was like, oh yeah, front, bottom. And I'm like, what are you talking about? How can I teach my daughters that it's called a front bottom and a back bottom? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. But I think that's a society, sadly, that we still live in. Yeah, at least not all of the women, but a lot of women. A society where we can't say vagina. And if we can say vagina, then, oh, please, let's not say pussy. But I think for a lot of women, the reclamation of the word pussy on its own and to be able to say it and to then connect it to spirituality and to creation and manifestation and the liberation of the word alone.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I remember Mama Gina years ago. I met her and we were in very similar groups, and I took a few of her programs, and then we met in other circumstances. And it was like, hey, here's someone's actually reclaiming the word pussy. Yeah, I did a lot of orgasmic meditation. It was all about pussy, reclaiming that word. And I love where you said like vagina. People don't like the word vagina. And if we're also honest about it, it's not actually, when we're talking about our vulva, that's not vagina. It doesn't encompass it all. It's only the piece, the inside piece where men actually get pleasure. So where did men go and talk about our body parts and the parts that give them pleasure only? And do we feel ashamed to talk about it?
Yeah, there is a lot of shame about all of it. And I guess the shame is what keeps us stuck. And what keeps us stuck, not just in the bedroom, but in every facet of our lives. Because if I look at the business that I've created, I think between the sheets is one thing, but a woman is not like a man, that if something is in her life and she, for example, she worries about something with the children, then that's what she takes with her into the business. And a man can leave it good at home. But for a woman, it's everywhere. So if there is something between the sheets, then it's also in the business. And if something is in the business, then it's also between the sheets. And I think the more we free ourselves sexually, the more free we are in all. The freer we are with our children, the freer we will be in our business. But I think, at least that's what I've experienced as a mom. And now, birthing the pussy oracle into life as a mom of a newborn. That's the thing. Women, not men, but also women make that a thing. Because you are a mom, or you are, that pussy kind of woman. But you are not both. You can't sound correct.
Both. You can't be this and it's this or. And it's a really interesting point that you're saying. It's like men often say, hey, do it. Yeah, I'm behind you. But then it's other women that don't actually fix our crowns, but they pull them away and they're like, hey, that you're too big for your boots. And it's, I think, why I set up the Scrumptious Woman, the podcast, because I think it's really important to share these stories so that others can take their little nuggets and you're like, oh, because of that episode, I felt empowered, or I felt this, or I felt that. So I'd love you to just take us through, because I know that you were in corporate before. And you went through a whole journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah, I still remember when I worked in corporate, the last job that I was in, I was at a gray desk, a gray floor, a gray building. My computer was gray. And I realized that there was this moment that I looked at all the things and I thought, oh, fuck, everything is gray. And I looked out of the window and I looked at a gray building. And I think that's my life at the moment. Everything is gray. And I don't want this anymore. I don't want this for myself.
A different 50 shades of gray then.
Yeah, but not the best one. This was more like minus 50 shades of gray. And I created my business and I thought I had the golden nugget. I was amazing in marketing and sales and I had a heart because the women always came to me talking to me. Oh, it feels like I've known you for years and with you I can talk about all things. So I thought I had the golden nugget. But when I started my business, there were no 20 buses waiting for me. I had to reclaim all of myself. I could no longer hide behind a product. I had to sell myself. I had to sell my heart. And that felt like a thing. And I think that sexual healing, sexual energy has been my way throughout my business. Because in a way, you could ask me, what did you do for your business? What did you do to build it to that kind of number? We could make a whole story about it. But I think my sexual healing has been the journey, and the money, the clients, the business has almost been the side effect. And I don't want to make it that small because I take my actions. If I know that I have to do something that I feel fear about or whatever, I know that I have to do it. So I'm not saying, oh no, you can heal yourself sexually on a yoga mat and everything will be okay. I took my actions, but I healed myself sexually. I was sexually abused, created my life in a way that if I could look back, I would have never imagined for myself. But it made me into a woman that created this life. And the more liberation sexually I created for myself, the more me I could become. And the more me I am, the more ease my business experiences. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful reclamation. I'm all about teaching the world where sexual trauma actually has a massive ripple effect. And not just for the people that are involved, but for your family, for your children, for businesses. It doesn't stop just with us. But that's the beauty if we reclaim ourselves. And it's like, we can look back on it and say, oh, it's actually who I became now and how I help others and how we can take this into our businesses and we can make this our little nugget, how we can alchemize this into gold. And I see where you've done this such a beautiful way. And also now with your whole Oracle deck, really pushing the envelope a little bit. It's like, where can we, I wouldn't say trigger, but where can you really open up a little bit more? Where can we just show people, hey, do we have to stay in boxes or can we actually reclaim all of ourselves?
Yeah. Can we bring pussy into the Oracle world as well? And not yoni, but pussy. Because that's what I thought of myself. My intuition said pussy Oracle years ago, and then life came in between, and this is the moment that she births into life. And I thought about it. You could name it the yoni, whatever, yoni journey, yoni healing, whatever. We could make it all of that. But the Pussy Oracle wanted to be the Pussy Oracle. And she has her own entity. She has her own journey. She wants to go into the world and not only into the hands of women like us who say, oh, pussy, yeah, I know it and it freaked me too. And I believe she also wants to be in the hands of women who might think, oh my God, what is this? I want an angel, whatever, oracle deck. But this one is the one that calls me. It triggers me, but what is it? And how can that heal the world? Because I believe every woman has some kind of sexual healing that she has to do, not only for herself, but as she said, for her children, for her clients, for the business that she works in. I always believe that sexual healing is your natural healing blanket. It's the way you navigate deep shit, the hard stuff, but also the good stuff, how you can hold yourself in letting things be better and better and better. I believe that, yeah, the Pussy Oracle, let's bring her into the world, into places where women might think, oh, I don't know what it is that I have to do with this, but I will buy her and I will see, yeah, on what journey she takes me, what it is that I can uncover in myself.
I love it. Take me through your journey to bring the Pussy Oracle in and how she's an entity, right? You talk about her as...
Yeah, that's how it feels. It almost feels as if she has her own chair in our house, as if she has her own persona almost.
Yeah.
And I think I was still in an abusive relationship when I felt the Pussy Oracle. And I left that relationship and I met my now husband. I got pregnant and I felt the Pussy Oracle again because I already did a program that's called the Pussy Oracle. But now I felt there as an oracle and I was pregnant with our daughter and I downloaded the whole story. And then she was stillborn. We lost her and life came in between. We had the grief, all of the stories. I got pregnant again, so much sooner than we ever expected from our rainbow baby boy. And life came in between. But I think this is maybe exactly the transmission that this deck wanted, because to me, she feels about reclaiming your power in all facets. And if I think, looking back from the moment that she came to me, because in a way, I think, why hasn't anyone else in this whole pussy world ever thought of creating a pussy oracle deck? Why isn't it there yet? But looking back, I had to reclaim my life after being in an abusive relationship, reclaim my life with my son, being alone, and then creating my business, bring her to multi-six figures and beyond. Reclaiming my power in love, because it's great to heal yourself in an abusive relationship, from an abusive relationship, but then letting yourself experience love and really feel it. That's maybe something that you know as well, because if we had sexual trauma, it's almost that you want to rush through the things instead of being so present and really letting love in and being vulnerable in love and leaning into love. So reclaiming that was also a journey. And then reclaiming the whole pregnancy of my daughter and really feeling like the chicken on the eggs and leaning into that while being in business and reclaiming that. And then through grief, because there is a lot said about the grieving industry, but I think pleasure is such a healing tool, but it misses in that industry. Not many people speak, at least that's how I felt when I lost her. And I started searching the internet and I thought, but I don't find what it is that I intuitively feel. And bringing sexual energy and pleasure into that process was healing as well. And it helped me reclaim my power, I believe, so much faster than I could have done going through the normal kind of grieving stages.
And everything else. What a deep story. And I have 4 children. I had 4 children in under 3 years' time. I had lots of miscarriages in between and no stillborn. So I've grieved a lot. I've helped my sister pass over, my parents, and 3 of my clients. I'm also a death doula. And I so agree with you that there isn't enough about grief out there and sexuality, sensuality, reclaiming your pleasure in grief. And I think the most beautiful thing is for a woman to be like in the throes of being normal in her life. And then all of a sudden a pocket of grief hits and she cries and she lets it out and it's not flying everything else. And then she's absolutely laughing and flying again. And I would, during my journey, because I had three years that I just one after the other that I was helping them through. And that was the thing, right? I was still teaching on pleasure and everything else. So I'd be like in the middle of a coaching program. Oh, yeah, it's like a pocket of grief hits. And I just showed them, which if you're in this industry, it's absolutely fine. When you go to like more normal people, you get invited for dinner. It's just want to warn you that I am grieving. This is going on. I know exactly how to take care of you, of myself. But it might just be a little bit uncomfortable for you to see a woman go through all these emotions in, I don't know, 2 minutes. But it's also the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that lacks in our society, that we almost have to trigger warn people.
There's always a trigger warning.
Yeah, and boy, I hate that word. And especially around the stillbirth of my daughter, I saw all of these accounts and then trigger warning. And I thought, but if I would do such a thing, then I would only add more to all of that, what I don't want. And I think the whole trigger warning, almost the society, is the biggest trigger warning. Oh, that's the problem that we have.
Completely.
Yeah,
because we're not ourselves. Yeah. If the name 𝗵𝘱 shames, if stillborn, if you want to talk about that and people are like, oh, we don't want to hear it. It's what can we talk about? Just the normal things.
Yeah, the chitty-chatty.
Okay, boring. Let's go on.
Yeah, I think those are the biggest problems of society. And the more we reclaim all of these parts and we step forward in that power and we let ourselves be seen, we tell the stories, just like you said before, you inspire at least one other woman, and you change the world with your story. And
that's the beauty, right? Sometimes people think, but it doesn't make a difference. But even if you have changed one person's outlook, if that is the ripple, then she or he or they, whatever their pronouns are, that will continue on. And this is what I often see in the coaching industry, where it's not big enough, you're not loud enough, you're not this and that. It's like, no, every voice matters. And even the one person that you have just left a little nugget for, it makes a difference.
Yeah. And maybe we don't have to be as loud. If you are your story, and in a way we are not a story because we can outgrow our stories, but if you own who you are, I truly believe, I don't know how it's for you, but I never had the numbers to make up for the success that I have. If we look at numbers, then maybe I could have earned, let's say whatever. I don't have the mailing list or the social following or whatever to make up for the numbers, but there was always something. And we can call it magic, we can call it God. And in a way, it's also this freeing yourself energy, the reclamation of yourself, and then energy can really do its thing.
And I love this. I love because I don't particularly like the word manifestation. I think it's being quite corrupted, but where you also say it's energy. And then if we talk about that orgasmic, the sexual energy moving through us, I call it scrumptious because I got into Facebook and Instagram jail when I talked about pleasure too much and sensuality. So I just called it scrumptious. It felt good. It sounds good. I'm like, we're talking about the same stuff here, but it just has that same sound. But when we actually have access to that life force that you were talking about, your 50 Shades of Grey, of the darkest grey, that really was not anyway in the sense of the book. But like you say, when you all of a sudden have access to that life chi, to that centrality, to that orgasm running through you, it really is like the world goes back into technicolor. You all of a sudden start seeing things brighter. Like you said, you have clients coming into your lives that, that don't really make sense according to your mailing list and to, I don't know how many people you have on social media, but also because they feel you and they feel that energy. And so that's the attraction, that's the magnet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there will come people or situations that will come on your path, and then that is the real manifestation. And not so much, oh, let's keep on sending so many emails. And we have to do it. I do it as well. I truly believe that we have to take some actions. And I also think that we do all of that on our social media. Yeah, that's at least how it felt to me when I built my business. I have to be the channel for what wants to come through me. And I have to do that, and I will be paid for it. And I will always have whatever it is that I need and what I want and whatever. But we came here to be someone, to be something. And that's what we have to do. And then there will be more than enough for us. Of your power, then, for example, it can make no sense. You have not the money to invest in it, but by reclaiming your power, it can be the opportunity that you have to choose. Your sexual energy will become the fire power that you need, call it whatever it is, and then you can create it, and then you dare to take the chance, and then it will all make sense. But I think that is one of the things that sometimes go wrong, is that women want to have a sign. That's especially with these oracle decks. I wanted to create a deck that is a program on its own, that doesn't let women believe that my deck is their power. They are the power. They are their own sign, their own altar, whatever it is. And with that deck, you can reclaim your own journey, your own power. But it's not the deck on its own. This deck will challenge you. It will invite you into a whole new journey. And that's exactly how it's meant to be. Because then you can take these chances, and then you can make these quantum leaps, and then you will, outcreate yourself and become this totally different woman than a year ago. And you will find yourself. Maybe that's the thing, because she was always there, but especially when there is sexual abuse, then you created some kind of persona along the way, but the one you were was always there. She was always there waiting to be uncovered.
I love it. And you make such a beautiful point that it's never about you or the deck or putting someone else on a pedestal, but it's really about using it as a tool to come back to yourself. I was going to ask, do you have it with you, the deck?
No, it's at the printers. The printer will be here on Friday.
Oh, well, you pull us a card.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I don't have it yet.
Oh, how exciting. So it's at the printer. When is it coming out? Tell us a little bit about it, and how can people get their hands on it? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's a whole journey on its own. Looking back, I thought maybe I shouldn't have created a deck that's about reclaiming your power, because while creating this deck, I had to reclaim my power over and over again, also with the printer, because that's what I feel for myself and my people. What's really important is this: when we step forward in energy, there can also be energetic interference. And I wanted to create a deck that's at least what I can control without energetic interference. And then I chose a printer, and all of this shit came up. I thought, this is the patriarchy, but then in a printer. And I don't want this in my deck. So we had to change last minute for another printer. And it was so beautiful, because this man is so loving and helpful. And I think I could really feel myself sink into his energy almost. And I think this is exactly what you want. You know, what happens when you reclaim your power and the masculine wants to help you. And it's not the woman who takes advantage of the masculine, but it's what the masculine wants to help the woman. So that's what happened. And that's why printing is a bit delayed. So it will be there somewhere second week of April, probably. But then we can say the whole journey of this deck is exactly what the deck is about. And women have a deck, at least that I believe, with my open heart, that is really safe and it's their own sacred container that they can lean into. Because I believe if you write a book or something else that you do, it's a transmission. And whatever I have felt while writing or what I went through while writing is in that book. And I thought that's the same with this Oracle deck. So I did my part, and I want this to be the most beautiful journey for every woman who feels attracted by the 𝗵𝗱 Oracle deck.
I love it. Tell me a little bit about the art on it. Did you create that? Was that with someone else that you created it? How did that come about?
Yeah, I found this beautiful artist, 𝗄𝗶𝘱𝘆. She lives in Australia, and she created the deck. I had the outline for the 𝗵𝗱 Oracle deck, so all the cards, the name, the text. And she is so intuitive as well, and she created the most beautiful images. Some really soft, some more triggering, and all is in it. So I think for a sexual healing journey, it has all the facets. And yeah, it's just beautiful. Every card comes with an affirmation or more affirmations and with a sacred practice, because that's how it wanted to be created. So I could have easily turned it into an online program. I created many online programs along the years. And I feel like this booklet, I once had a booklet and I was so fascinated by it. And I had evenings in a row that I just dove into this booklet. And I think I want this booklet to be a journey on its own. And then you can look into the cards and connect with one card. And then when you have your questions, you draw your card. But I wanted the booklet to be a journey too. And if you feel like you don't know it, you can look at the affirmations and you can build a whole journey on the affirmations alone. Or you think, I want to do a practice, but I don't feel inspiration today or whatever. You open the booklet and there is a sacred practice, a practice that, connects you with your body and all the things. So it's a lot. I think it's exactly what she wanted to be.
I absolutely love it. I wrote a book of poems on the 31st of December. They just came through me and I published them within a month. Everything was finished and done and published and done. And then I also made my own communication cards. So it's 5 decks, some on sex, some on intimacy, some on life and everything else. So I know the whole frigging printer thing. It can be a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it is like birthing your baby, right? It's like birthing your things out there. And once you're out there in the world, it's like, oh, this is how it's leaving people. This is how it's creating that impact. So I love your story. I love how this will help women from all cultures, from all ranges. I'm going to ask you, are you going to put it on Deckable as well?
No, I don't know though.
Oh, Deckable. I'll talk to you about it. 𝗫𝗫𝗫 is electronic deck. You can have that. So that's interesting to look at it. But I'm so pleased for you. It's going to be probably by the time this podcast comes out, it will be out. So let our listeners know where they can find you. Everything will be in the show notes, but tell them what.
I think it's best to just look me up on Instagram, Cindy Stal or 𝘗𝘁𝘆𝗏.com. And on my website, I have a whole page about the 𝗵𝗱 Oracle deck. You can find all the beautiful images, the story behind it. I have a podcast about it on my Magic Money Mama podcast show. And on Instagram, you can draw your own card in a reel, and I have several of it there. So
fun.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I read my own DMs and my own email. So if you have a question,
Excellent.
just let
Cindy
me know.
Stal on Instagram, and her website and everything else will be in the show notes. Cindy, thank you so much for a beautiful conversation. Your heart really shows through. As a mother, I can only feel how difficult this must have been with your little one, and also this beautiful way that you are just giving back. Juicy as fuck.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
It's been an absolute delight.